Schedule builders, the purpose of this video is to show you how to work with courses to set them up so that they'll schedule correctly in your building. So we're going to go ahead and scroll down. Once we're in PowerScheduler, we're going to come to our resources area and click on courses. When we do that, we're going to see a list of all of our courses on the left-hand side that we can work with. Already did a video about the course list, so you can run the course list report to see if there's any place you have to go and work. Then you just come in here and find it. Your options, you can sort this list by alphabetical, by the course name, or by course number. So a lot of times I like number best because I know what the department's course numbers start with. You can also do a find. So I'm going to do a Control F on my screen, and I'm looking for the LHS 9th grade team. So I started typing in LHS, the name of the class, and that got me down to where it is as well. So I'm going to click on that, and that's going to open up all my different options. Like a lot of different pages on the resources area, I have these different tabs I can work with. If I click up here, I can switch between what the default tab that's going to open is. A lot of times preferences up front is what you're working with. You'll eventually get to assignments when you're doing teacher assignments. So if I change this to assignments, the next time I click on a class, that's the tab that opens. If I click on preferences, the next time I click on a class, that's the window that opens. So it's good to know. So a couple things. One, when you come into preferences, this is how to set up a class. Course number's already in the system. The course name's in the system. You don't need to use a course description because we use a different method of, we have our own course catalogs and things like that. You're going to see, depending on your building and high schools, credits are going to become important. So the one thing you're going to see is this course, this LHS 9th ELA Algebra 1 Bio American History team course, is a scheduling only course. This is one of those creative things I've mentioned we can do when you want to teach a course in a unique way. If we have the ability to find an old course, or if there's a limit on what we can do with this. We can't make 400 of these things. But if there's something we can do, we can try and do it, right? But you're going to see that this is a scheduling only course. So even though it's four classes that are 4 credit, that should equal 4 credits, the course is worth 0 credits for students if they end up with it in their schedule. But when they're doing request, and we look at any request screens, or when students log into PowerSchool to see what their total requests are, even if we do the new enrollment process we're talking about at the high school level, they'll see that this one class equates to 4 credits. So this can be adjusted depending on what you're doing. So year-long classes, as an example, are in PowerSchool all as a half a credit here, but we would want the request screen hours to show a 1. Credit type, there's no credit type to set. It's 4 different classes. We don't use alternate course numbers. These are all kind of set at the course level. You don't need to worry about those. Scheduling preferences. If you're going to schedule the class, like we're going to let the build process put it in somewhere, you check this box and make sure it's checked. On the course list report, this is that scheduled section. If it's a Y, that means this box is checked. If it's an N, it means it's not. We don't do anything with schedule building for lunch. That's just through the bell schedules. We don't want to exclude on report cards and transcripts. What department is it in? This is important if you have rooms that are locked down by department. That's a course level lockdown. This one we don't have. It's all 4 departments. It's its own thing. So I'm going to leave that blank. Often you would want to put what course a department is in, but this is a unique type, so I'm going to skip it. We always do a standard build type. You set your max enroll to be whatever your maximum enrollment is. This target numbers of sections to offer, we leave blank. The number of teacher assignments auto-calculates as you assign teachers to be scheduled. Now we get to some interesting stuff. Periods per cycle, periods per meeting, and frequency. This is a 4-period class that meets every day of the cycle. Liberty High runs a 2-day cycle, even though we don't do an A-B. Again, makes the scheduling screen work a certain way. But you want for a class that's going to meet 4 times on an A day or 4 times on a B day, 4 times 2 should be 8. That means if you were running an A-B schedule, that thing would meet each one of those days for 4 periods. And that's what we want, because it's really 4 single classes. Okay. Terms per year, 2 of 2. That means it's a year-long class. Allow students to repeat in the same term. This is where we get into some different things, right? So we don't want our students to take PE, which are all repeatable classes. We don't want them to get team sports twice first semester. We want to spread them out so we just want to spread them out. But we can allow students to repeat a course in different terms, meaning first semester I can take team sports, and second semester I can take team sports. So you can set that. Obviously, year-long classes we don't want marked as repeatable because it's a year-long class. We're not going to even do balanced terms. We let the schedule engine kind of decide where classes go, and a lot of times we handle that by teacher assignments. Valid start periods. When can the class start? Right? So our real periods are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. This period 8 and beyond, those aren't times when these classes can meet. But we have to realize this is a 4-period class, so it has to start 4th hour or earlier. Because if it starts 5th hour, you don't have enough time in the day to get that to land in a real class period. Now, Liberty High's decided it's going to be hours 2, 3, 4, and 5 no matter what, so period 2 is your valid start period. These come in handy. Liberty High has the daycare, Early Bird Learning Center, right? So if there's a child development class that needs to be in there, and the kid, you don't want the child development class in there during nap time, so you can avoid those hours using when the class can meet. Valid terms. This is why I came into this one. If you're going to do a build, we need the valid term to be chosen, and this is a year-long class. So I saw that it didn't have a valid term when I ran my report, and now I have added it. We don't do anything with valid date combinations because we don't have really, even though we show 2 cycle days, we don't do anything with it. We don't do anything with lab courses, so we can skip those. Room requirements. Is there a facilities requirement for this class? For this class, there's not, because we handle it based on the teacher's preferred rooms. But let's say this was a culinary arts class. I can click on Associate, and any facilities I have created in my school show up. So if this class needed to meet in a fax kitchen, I could select it there, hit Submit, and now that class would have to go into one of those rooms. Load options. This gets into how it loads students into those sections. Load priorities, there's a whole document on that. They shouldn't necessarily all be one. This is a required section, so it is. Load type is academic, balanced priority. We leave those at their defaults. You want to make sure you're checking the box, close section after max. And then there's this option of using section types. Okay? If you want to use section types, you have to check that box. And then we don't usually do too much with global substitution, so you could call me if that's the case. But that is how you can work on setting up the preferences of a course. And we will work on teacher assignments and all that other stuff later. Thanks.